everyone, it's Bren with Addicted to Cricut, bringing you another beginner tutorial for the Cricut machine. Today, after you complete this lesson, you are not going to feel like a beginner anymore. It's going to sound hard, but just stick with me. You are going to love this. It's going to be life-changing for you. So let me first take me down so we can get started. Today we are going to learn, let me bring in this picture. So many times we find pictures, I got this off of Etsy, so many times we find pictures that we want to copy, but it's got like all these crazy glyphs on it, and none of the fonts in your Cricut design space have those glyphs. So I'm going to teach you how to find very near to the fonts on here and how to copy this without having to come to the Addicted to Cricut page and say, what font is this? Because most of the time we don't know either. Sometimes on Etsy they only used purchased fonts. Now when I first began I did use purchased fonts, but I don't anymore. So let me show you how I do that. First of all, you are going to have to download a font manager. Let me show you mine. Here is mine. So it searches for all my fonts every time I open it, so that if I download new fonts, then it'll be in there. And what it does is that you can actually type a word in here, anything that you want, and it will type it out and show you what that font is going to look like. Now these are only your downloaded fonts from your computer or iPad or tablet or whatever. Okay, Macs have their own font manager, so you don't even have to worry about downloading this. This one is called Nexus Font, and there is a link in the blog post, so you can just click on it. It's free, it downloads, it just does it all by itself, so you don't have to worry about it. But it saves you time, so every time that you come in, you find something that you like, you can come and see if you have anything near it. So the first thing that I would do is I would come in and I would type in the word grandkids. And as you see, it has taken every font that I have and typed that word, so that I would just scroll through here, and I do this enough that I can kind of scroll through pretty fast and find what I want. Once I find that and I find the name, like H.R. Herman, then I will go back to Cricut. I will type in my text, grandkids, and then I will go up here and to the search box and put in A.N. Herman. And it comes up, okay? So that's easy, right? You can kind of figure out what font you have, what font you need. But for this picture, it's going to be a little bit harder because the G's kind of fancy and the K's kind of fancy. I think the rest of the words we can get where we need to be. So let me move that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. And I am going to make 5 text boxes. So the first one will have G. The next one will have R-A-N-D. And that's separate. Say grandkids. That's what I'm spelling. I have to remember. Then the K is going to be separate because I want to make that fancy. I want to make that different. And then the ID for kids, and then the S will be separate because it's kind of fancy too. So I kind of know already that I want the regular text to be, I think it's sweetie something. If you just type in part of the word, sometimes it'll come. Okay, so that one's going to be it, and this one's going to be it. And then I like to make them a little bigger because I'm blind. And we're going to change the letter spacing because we want these letters to all touch like cursive does. So here where it says letter space, click the down arrow and it will squeeze it together just to where you want it to be. Okay, whoops, wait a minute, that's a little bit too far. Actually, I'm going to come to advanced. I'm going to ungroup the letters, because my A is kind of crossing over my N a little bit, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it with my mouse. And then I'm going to move the R just a little bit with my mouse too. And the D, okay, now it looks good. Well, no, the R is still, okay. Now I'm going to, whoops, sorry D. I'm going to drag a box around it and I'm going to weld it. And now whatever I do with this, big, little, it'll all do it together. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the ID. And I make it bigger so that I can see because I'm old. And I'm going to use the letter space again and move those together. Oops, come on. And once again, I will put a box around them and weld. Okay, so those are set. Now we have to figure out what we're going to do with the G. Now, if we want to only find a fancy G, we can come in here and just put a G. And that way we can look at every small case G and see if we can find one with the big loop on it that it had. Okay, we can go through here. And I don't know what I did with my tablet that I had for my cheat letters. Because when I was working on the blog post, I had written them down, because if I don't write them down, I won't remember. Okay, so I decided, after going through all of this, that my G was going to be glowing. Okay. Okay. Now, it's not perfect. Let's first of all move this down here. It's not perfect, but if I unlock it and then maybe spread it a little bit more, it kind of gets a little bit closer. Let's look at the original. Okay. So it's closer. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be closer. And then we can connect that right there. Okay. The K is also going to be glowing. Because, and I'm going to unlock it, because it's got this nice swoosh of a tail here, okay? And so we're getting there. I need to get a little bit smaller. We're still missing these long tails, right? And we're going to get to that, okay? And let's see, what did I do for the S? The S... Let's see, let's get the kids in here. Can't forget the kids. The S is going to be Phoenix. Okay. Okay, I didn't spell it right. O-E-N-I-X. Okay, Phoenix. And I unlocked him and made him a little bit bigger too, and kind of rotated him a little bit so that he was a little bit more like this one. Okay, and then we can always find a glyph to put on the end. Now I have all of my these fonts here because I worked on this before, but let's say that you don't have the Phoenix or the glowing or whatever I used, the sweetie one. Let's go to DaFont. That's what I use. There are a lot of free font sites. I trust DaFont. I go there. Just open it up, and what you need to do is these are all of the font types. Just click on any one of them. I'm going to click on handwritten. Okay. When you do that, it opens up more options. So right here in this preview button, type in what you're looking for. So grandkids is what we're looking for. Okay, or maybe we just want to look at the G's. Maybe we got the others. We just want the G's. So we're going to hit submit. Now, in all of the handwritten type fonts, you are going to scroll until you find the one that you want. Okay, and there are, let's get to the bottom of here, 412 pages that you can go through. Okay. So let's say that you like this one, Charlene. Just go over here, click the download button. Now I am on a PC. This might be a little different on a Mac. Whoops, this window pops up. I am going to do the true type font or the open type, doesn't matter. Double click it and it jumps up to this, and I'm going to click install. now it is automatically installing it on my computer. Okay, and it's done. That one's installed. Now here's the problem with doing this after you've already created this. Okay, so write down all of your fonts that you've used, because once you've downloaded new fonts to your computer or your iPad, you have to refresh your Cricut Design Space. And what that does is it tells Cricut Design Space to upload any new fonts, okay? And so you're going to want to do that. But first, go through DeFont and find all the different ones you can download, as many as you want. You can do the same thing for the K and same thing for the S, as many as you want. And they will not only upload to Cricut Design Space, but they will upload to your font manager as well, okay? So once we've done that, you'll have to come over here and you'll have to force a refresh, which is under View. Just force the reload, and most likely what you're already working on will be gone, okay? Now after that, we have to work on the glyphs. Okay, and this is what you need to do now. Now you need to go to the bottom of your, well, at the bottom of my bar, at my bottom, I can type in and search for things, but you can also do it in Google. Go over to here and search for, hold on, let me find, I'm trying to remember what it is. Character map. Character map, UWP, there it is right there. That's what you want to download. It's free, it's a Microsoft thing so that you can trust it. Just download it, you don't have to sign up for that. Download it and it's fine. This is what it looks like. Here it is. Whoops, I just closed it. And what it will do is automatically download all the fonts that you have downloaded to your computer, okay? Right now, I have it clicked on I Love Glitter. That's the name of that font. But I can click on all of my fonts and see exactly what they are. I like I Love Glitter because it has a lot of the glyphs or the swishes or whatever you want to call them. And you can just scroll through any of them, click on it, and here it is. And if I can move me, down at the bottom of this, which you're not going to be able to see, there at the bottom of the screen will be a copy button right here. Just copy it, and you should be able to come over to Cricut Design Space, open a text box, and then paste it in there. Now, I do Control V, whatever you do, you can do. And it should give you a glyph. Now, here's the problem. That Control Paste thing doesn't always work, and it's kind of a pain. So I always go through and see if I can find any swishes or glyphs that are already in there. So I have one, and it's called, hold on, let me find it. Is this it? Yeah. Malia Swash. And I don't know, it's already downloaded on my computer. Maybe it came that way. I don't know. But each one of these is going to correspond to an A, B, C, D kind of thing. So let's go back over to Cricut Design Space. And we have a text box already open up. Let's change the font to the Malia, whatever. Here we go. Here's the font one. They actually have a text, but here's the font. So now watch, let me move all these guys out of the way. Watch what happens when I type in, oh, my talk's back. When I type in A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So now you can figure out, okay, these guys are in the way. Now you can figure out which swash you want. And like I say, the ABC in my head, actually what I do is I do like about 5 and then I start over until I find it. So if you do A, B, C, D, and you decide you want D, so get rid of that text box and now just put in D. Okay, now let's see. Can we use this one? we might be able to, let me flip him. Let me flip him the other way too. And let's see, maybe we can use him on the end of the K somehow. Whoops, what happened to him? Somehow I deleted him. What did I say, D? Okay. Let's flip him vertically, flip him horizontally, and see how he, well, that's why, because every time when I flip him, when I flip it, the arrow that I'm used to controlling it with is now here instead. So I'm not going to make that mistake again because that was stupid. Now I'm going to make it smaller and move it. Maybe that works. So maybe it's a little big. Maybe we can make it a little smaller. But you see what I mean about you can add the swooshes. Maybe we can aim it up a little bit more. You can add your swooshes any way you want, anyhow you want. And I like using the Malia swoosh because it corresponds to the ABCD part. Otherwise, when I use some that aren't necessarily part of that, it's harder. There's no guarantee that they're going to, you know, like all these pretty letters, it doesn't guarantee that I'm actually going to get them to come over to my Cricut. And so then after that, all I do is put it all together and play with it and play with the glyphs, and that's it. And you can create any font that you love, and you can take pictures of the ones you do love and get them as close as possible. Now you may find out that you already have a font that you love better than this one already downloaded, and you don't even have to go through this. But isn't it great knowing all this information now? You have these two new things that you can play with that will make your job easier in Cricut. So get out there and start copying fonts and making your own. Have a great day.